AJ, thank you. Right now, one man is recovering after a Savannah police officer backed into his car. That crash was reported just after midnight Saturday at Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and West 38th Street. You're looking at pictures from the scene now. According to a police report obtained by WJCL 22, the officer started to reverse his vehicle to respond to a call, and that's when the collision happened. The victim says he was taken to the hospital and is still feeling sore today. According to the report, the officer was at fault, but no citations were issued on the scene.
County Sheriff's deputy has been charged with misdemeanor domestic assault. According to court documents, Christina Adams was cited by Hartford police last week for allegedly assaulting a household member and interfering with access to emergency services. The Windham County State Attorney's Office is taking on the case due to potential conflicts of interest. An internal investigation is also being conducted.
It's obviously a very serious accusation. We take reports of interpersonal and domestic violence incredibly serious. The deputy was immediately placed on paid administrative leave, and we initiated the internal affairs investigation.
Adams pleaded not guilty to the charges. Her lawyer sent us a statement that reads in part, quote, "Miss Adams is absolutely innocent of any wrongdoing in this case. We are confident that the truth will be forthcoming in short order."
Well, a former Claremont County deputy is now facing life in prison after being convicted of sex crimes. Jessica Schmidt is at the alert desk with details on the verdict. Jess.
Yeah, so after a 4-day trial, a Claremont County jury found Brigham Jones guilty of 33 charges, including rape of a child under 13, gross sexual imposition, and sexual battery. Investigators say the case was originally looked into in 2013, but the prosecutors at that time did not move forward with charges. The current prosecutors reopened this case last year after they say the victim, who is now an adult, came forward with the sexual abuse allegations again. Prosecutors say Jones was a sheriff's deputy there from 2013 to 2020. We're told that he was fired following an internal investigation involving a different victim. Prosecutors say he pled guilty to sexual imposition in that case earlier this year. As for this one, Jones is facing up to life in prison without parole. He'll be sentenced July 17th. Prosecutors say they are pursuing that maximum sentence.
Good morning. Welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. We are going to start our day out down in Polk County and Grady Judd's jurisdiction. Okay, where they caught themselves a Chicago cop. This Chicago cop was relieved of his police powers following his Florida arrest. No more power for you, buddy. It says here, a Chicago police officer was relieved of his powers on Monday following this weekend arrest in Polk County, Florida, in which he allegedly attacked a security guard and used a racial slur, authorities confirmed. Only one? He seems like the kind of guy that would use multiple racial slurs. Maybe even like a volley of them. But who knows? Dwayne Ocasio, age 32, reportedly bonded out of jail on Saturday after allegedly having an altercation with a security guard at the Westgate River Ranch Resort there in River Ranch, Florida.
You know what this guy did? He cussed the security guard, used a racial slur, that's right, and then he pushed the security guard back.
That's what Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd said. He said it just like that, too. Judd said Ocasio initially identified himself as an officer with the Miami Police Department and later retreated to a room at the resort. Quote, after about 10 minutes of knocking on the door and saying Polk County Sheriff's Office, this guy from inside said, "Who the blank is Polk County Sheriff's Office?" Judd said. He said, "I don't give a blank what the Polk County Sheriff's Office is and who the Sheriff's Office is, who the sheriff is." Woo! That's what Grady said, he said. Anyway, the sheriff said deputies arrested Ocasio after he opened the door. The security guard identified him as the person who shoved him. Okay.
Now he knows who the Polk County Sheriff's Office is when we put him in the Polk County Jail, Judd said. I bet the people of Chicago are not happy with him using a racial slurs and battering somebody and giving other deputies a hard time.
Grady, that's kind of a racial statement there, Grady. Are you just trying to, that's not okay anywhere, not just in black Chicago. Okay, Grady, You just ease up there, Grady. Okay. Ocasio faces a battery charge. The Chicago Police Department has since reassigned him to the department's alternate response section, which handles non-emergency calls. I wonder how that's going to work for him in Chicago, says Grady. Okay, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And let's move on with the show.
In an update to a story you saw first on KDKA, an Elwood City police officer is now temporarily off the force after this controversial confrontation at a gas station was caught on camera. Tonight, Borough Council voted for punishments for Sergeant Rob Magnifico. KDK's Jennifer Barrasso joins us now live with the results of that voting. Jen.
Thanks, Cam. Well, Elwood City Borough Council voted unanimously to suspend Sergeant Rob Magnifico for 10 days without pay. They've demoted him from sergeant to officer. They've also ordered him to do anger management classes and de-escalation courses. We caught up with the mayor after the meeting.
Yeah, I said from the beginning, we don't condone this kind of behavior. It will be addressed. And I think we took the steps this evening to do that. We took this matter very seriously. A lot of time and effort went into this, decisions made by myself and the governing body. And we want to continue to move forward as a community and making sure that Elwood City is still the place to be.
We showed you the video that put Magnifico in hot water. You see 20-year-old Devin Hartman hit the wall after being pushed by the then sergeant inside the Sheetz store on June 6th after 1 a.m. Hartman tells KDKA he was told to leave Sheetz after he and his friend were recording or vlogging. He says he left his cell phone and came back to get it, but employees told him it wasn't there. They called police when he refused to leave. The 20-year-old said he told officers it was his phone and even put the password in it, but they wouldn't give it to him.
I don't give a bro, I want my phone.
When he cursed, Magnifico comes from behind the food station and shoves him into the wall. Eventually, Hartman gets up, gets his phone, and he asks the officer for his information.
My name is Magnifico. My badge number is 5815. Don't touch me.
Rob Magnifico was not at tonight's meeting, and the next step, the bargaining unit has a chance to appeal the decision, and at last check, he is still the head football coach at Riverside High.
Those California cops. Well, turns out that there's a bill that could ban them for wearing face masks. Think about that, you guys. I wonder if there's going to be an exception for the woke-tard cops who just wear them all the time anyways. They exist. There's a lot of them out there. Trust me. A proposed California bill could make it a misdemeanor for local, state, and federal law enforcement officers to wear masks or any other personal disguise to conceal their identity while interacting with the public while on duty in the state. Whoa! The bill could also require officers to be identifiable via their uniform, whether their name or other identifiers. SWAT teams and officials who wear medical masks while responding to wildfires would be exempt from the bill. See, there's an exemption. They don't call it the woke-tard exemption, though. That's what I would have called it. Okay, California State Senator Scott Wiener and Jesse Araguin introduced the bill, also known as No Secret Police Act, on Monday. The proposed legislation comes days after the protests in Los Angeles against Trump's administration and the immigration crackdown. I think they mean the illegal immigration crackdown, but these are news groomers. Okay, the protests prompted President Donald Trump to deploy approximately 4,000 National Guard troops without the consent of Governor Newsom. Well, Newsom was too busy going on podcasts. That's what he does now. He's the podcast governor. Later, about 700 active duty Marines were sent to the region. Okay, there's a little bit more, but all we know, it's a bunch of quote stuff where a bunch of people are patting themselves on the back for being so good at what they do. Well, we'll just see how that turns out. Thanks for being here. Let's move on with the show.
Steve's testimony for the day wrapped up a couple hours ago, and both sides are telling very different stories. Now, according to investigators, this all happened back in April of 2023. 6 corrections officers were trying to restrain patient Jason Roth, who was being held at the secure psychiatric unit. Witnesses told investigators that former corrections officer Matthew Millar put his weight on Roth's upper back and neck and kept it there for several minutes while Roth was handcuffed. Officials at the time said that Roth was unresponsive and officers attempted CPR, but but he was later pronounced dead at a local hospital. Millar, who's from Boscawen, is charged with second-degree murder. Today, prosecutors said that Millar was a rogue employee, while the defense says he's being used as a scapegoat.
The defendant ignored his training, he ignored his common sense, and he killed Jason Roth.
Jason Roth had a heart attack. This was always a heart attack and never a homicide. Matt Millar is innocent. Find him not guilty.
Now, this trial is happening just about a month after the DOC commissioner stepped down from her role. That same day as that happened, she was accused of destroying notes related to Mr. Roth's death, but she has denied any wrongdoing.
Okay, look at this dangerous-looking Pendeco. Defense set to rest in trial of former deputy accused of murdering girlfriend's ex-lover. Indio, California, the defense is slated to rest tomorrow in the trial of an ex-Riverside County Sheriff's deputy accused of gunning down a man with whom he was at odds because the victim had been involved with the lawman's then-girlfriend. Oscar Rodriguez, age 44, is charged with first-degree murder and sentence-enhancing gun and great bodily injury allegations for the 2014 slaying of a 39-year-old Luis Carlos Morin of Coachella. The prosecution rested more than a week ago, and the defense has been summoning witnesses to the Larson Justice Center in Indio just since then. Rodriguez took the stand in his own defense Tuesday. It's unclear whether the prosecution intends to call rebuttal witnesses because of the Juneteenth court holiday Thursday. Riverside County Superior Judge Otis Sterling may push closing statements back to the next week. Okay, Rodriguez is free on a $1 million bond. Oh, he gets to watch the Bad Apple Report and see himself on the Bad Apple Report. Okay, at the time of the shooting, the defendant was romantically involved with Diane Perez, the mother of Morin's 2 children. She and then deputy originally met in the winter of 2013 when he and others responded to 911 calls for her complaining about Morin, whom she didn't want around her home. The man had active warrants for his arrest. Okay. Things went from professional to unprofessional, Deputy District Attorney Jacob Silva said. The prosecutor recalled in the evening statements how Rodriguez dated Perez throughout 2013, taking a personal interest in her ongoing conflicts. Silva alleged Rodriguez decided to act independently, ignoring law enforcement protocols in apprehending Morin. On the night of January 27, 2014, the defendant learned that the suspect had joined family members for a birthday celebration in Palm Desert and would be returning to his mother's home at the 4800 block of Camino Real there in Coachella. Silva alleged Rodriguez went to the neighborhood alone in a patrol unit, parking out of sight and placing Maria Gomez's house under surveillance. Quote, he refused to allow the laws and procedures put in place, the prosecutor said. He ignored all of his training. He consciously disregarded all those procedures and directives. At 9:40 p.m., Morin and his mother arrived home, and the suspect got out and directed Gomez as she backed her vehicle into a tight parking space. Silva said that Rodriguez stealthily approached Morin, but the suspect was alerted and tried to run, at which point the deputy swept the man's leg to stop him, causing both of them to fall down, Rodriguez landing on his back. Gomez was heard shouting, "Don't do it!" According to the defense attorney Mark, when the juror's client inferred the statement, signaled Morin was about to attack him, and he opened fire in fear for his life. Morin, who was not armed, was fatally wounded in the left side of his chest and died on the scene. Rodriguez suffered a bruise on his back. Frederick characterized his client as shaken and scared by the encounter. We don't care. Of course he's shaken and scared. He just offed somebody. Okay. There's a little more to it, but Morin's family sued the sheriff's department and county for a wrongful death, netting a $7 million payout. Perez was indicted along with Rodriguez, charged as being an accessory to a felony. However, the charge against her was dismissed in April. Okay. It looks like Rodriguez, you're on your own there, buddy.
In this day and age, this should not be happening. I hope that what I went through and what I prevailed in will help other females in law enforcement if they're going through this.
Tonight, in our Emmy Award-winning Small Town Secrets, a Dedham police sergeant is speaking exclusively with the NBC 10 investigators. She describes what made her file a discrimination and retaliation lawsuit against her own boss, the police chief. Her allegations resulted in a 7-figure taxpayer settlement before the case even made it to a jury.
And tonight, our NBC 10 investigator Ryan Kath reveals why.
The only way I can describe it is like they're clipping your wings. They know you can see it. They know you're more than capable of obtaining it, but they'll do everything in their power to stop you from getting there.
Marissa Holland describing her 4-year legal battle against the town of Dedham and the police department where she's worked for more than a decade. Holland grew up in Dedham and wanted to follow in the public service footsteps of her late father, a Vietnam vet who enlisted in the Marines. It was a dream when her hometown department came calling in 2011.
I loved it. I always tried to advance, take a lot of courses and trainings.
On 2 occasions, Holland says her supervisors nominated her for Officer of the Year recognition. And when 2 openings surfaced for sergeant positions, Holland says she studied up and took the civil service promotional exam in 2020.
I ended up second on the list.
So how'd you feel about your chances?
I felt great. I was very proud of my score. I'm thinking, this is it. This is going to be the time when I get my promotion that I've been seeking for so long.
What happened?
I received a call from the chief of police saying they were going to promote one of the males that had scored less than me.
Holland says she immediately challenged getting passed over in an appeal before the Massachusetts Civil Service Commission. She prevailed and eventually received that promotion to sergeant. But through that process, she also decided there was enough evidence to pursue a lawsuit for gender discrimination.
What do you think made it rise to that level?
There was a lot of things that have gone on and were used against me that male counterparts had done, and they were not used against them.
All the while, you're continuing to work in the department. You have the same boss that you filed the complaint against.
Yes.
How difficult is that?
I didn't know what was going to be done to me.
Joseph Solomon is Holland's attorney.
What happened here is the chief went after her after she filed and said, you challenged me, we're going to try to ruin your career.
In the wake of the lawsuit, Solomon says Police Chief Michael D'Entremont put Holland on administrative leave and told her the testimony she gave during her civil service appeal was under investigation. Holland and her attorney then added a retaliation claim to their case.
This is her career. She loves this job. You're the one who did something wrong here. You have to give. She's not going away.
Why do you think the town did not let this get to a jury?
Because they knew they were going to lose.
Just weeks before the case was scheduled for trial last month, court records show the sides reached a settlement, a $1.3 million judgment against the town.
It's great to know that the right thing's being done, but at the same time, what's changed? I don't know.
We reached out to the police chief, the town administrator, and elected leaders on the select board for comment. In response, we received this statement. While the town does not admit to any intentional wrongdoing, this settlement enables us all to put this matter in the past. Sergeant Holland is a valued member of the Dedham Police Department, and we look forward to her continued service to the community.
The way I was treated was wrong. This type of treatment should never happen anywhere, let alone a police department.
I'm Christina Aguayo in Dallas, and here are your top stories. 8 employees for the DMV were arrested for selling driver's license to more than 1,000 illegal migrants without making them go through testing, training, or vetting in what authorities are calling a major driver's license fraud scheme. They accepted cash payments to bypass the mandatory requirements such as written tests, skills tests, and proof of residency or legal presence. The more than 1,000 non-domiciled Cdls were allegedly sold from a single DMV office in Florida. A non-domiciled Cdl is a commercial driver's license issued by a state to individuals not domiciled in that state, meaning people who do not have their primary legal residence or permanent home in the state. So, illegal migrants who don't even live in the state of Florida were being issued Cdls without having to go through any required testing. In this case, the licenses were allegedly issued to illegal migrants without verifying eligibility, legal presence, or driving competency. This violates federal and Florida state requirements, which mandate proof of residency for first-time CDL applicants. American Truckers United sent out a warning about this very issue 4 months ago, alleging that Florida was one of 10 states, including California, Illinois, New York, Texas, and Pennsylvania that are flooding the trucking industry with illegal foreign labor. They asserted that the scheme is part of a broader nationwide problem, with DMVs in multiple states issuing CDLs to illegal migrants en masse, potentially to undercut American truckers by providing cheaper labor. Many are now pointing to an incident in March of this year where 37-year-old Solomon Weldakil Araya crashed his semi-truck into 17 vehicles in Austin, Texas. Araya's tractor-trailer that was carrying goods for Amazon failed to slow down. 5 people were killed at the scene, including a child and an infant. 11 others were injured and taken to local hospitals. Araya was arrested by the Austin Police Department. He was initially issued a $1.2 million bond, but it was reduced to $7,000. Araya bonded out with conditions including GPS monitoring, random drug tests, and a ban on driving commercial vehicles. The truck was registered to ZBN Transport LLC, a Dallas-based for-hire carrier contracted by Amazon. ZBN stated Araya passed background checks and had been with the company for 4 months. In Dallas, Christina Awaya.
I don't guess we're going to run out of bad apples anytime soon. So I'm going to whip up another batch just for you, and I hope to see you back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early. In the meantime, I really hope you have a great day. Take it easy.